All righty. Well, I think we can get started, and then if additional students join us, they can or I can let them in as they come. But yeah, thank you for joining us today. My name is Callie Rouse. I'm a senior study abroad advisor at CGIS, and this is a STEM abroad winter options info session. So my portfolio is heavily our STEM portfolio. So I work with various kind of like programs of the STEM variety in Europe, as well as working with our Scandinavian programs and our Central European programs. Elise?
Hi, my name is Elise. I am just a regular old study abroad advisor, no senior attached. But my portfolio consists mainly of the UK, but I also have programs in Switzerland under my umbrella, as well as the vast majority of our public health related programs. So that is why Callie has asked me to join today, as a number of those overlap with the STEM options.
Yeah. So to get us started, so how we're kind of going to go through this. So first of all, we'll go by programs by major. So these are programs that are like kind of like predominantly in one major area. So we have like a computer science program that's like really just for computer science students. And then we have the multidisciplinary programs as well beneath that. And those are the programs that maybe they're like computer science and psychology and neuro or something like that. And then we'll also get into some additional notes. So how course approvals would work, our multiple application policy, financial aid and scholarships, and some general resources. And then we'll have some additional time for any questions you may have. So I will get us started. I do have a quick note about programs with an asterisk. So this indicates that a program is competitive, and we do recommend applying to a backup just in case you aren't able to get into this program. And programs listed on the page are not the be all end all. So if you are looking here and you're like, hey, like I am looking for a particular program in Asia that has like this kind of thing as well as like having some psych classes, but it's not listed, we can still try to see if we can find something that's doable for you. These are just kind of like our top recommendations. And programs which cover multiple STEM majors are under the multidisciplinary, like I mentioned. So like stick around for those as well. So I'm going to start off with BCN, Neuroscience, Psychology, and CogSci. These kind of tend to hug together. And a couple of programs that are good for them are their psychology in Amsterdam, our psychology and sciences in Amsterdam, and our psychology and neuroscience in Buenos Aires. But to start with, a little bit about like the BCN, psychology, and CogSci, how they function. So both psychology and cognitive science have pre-approved coursework lists and a petition form to request evaluation of new courses. So I have linked both of them there, and if you sign up for this, you will get a copy of this presentation. But these link here to their pre-approved course listings. But for psychology and BCN, important notes are that more locations are available for psychology than BCN. So be aware that they are divided into two different lists on the Psych BCN page because of that. And courses listed as an upper level elective in the psychology BCN database can be applied as either 300 level or 400 level elective as needed. And students should inquire with their advisor about details if you need more information than what's provided on the sheet, or follow the information if you do need to get the if you need to get something approved that hasn't been evaluated. For cognitive science, so CogSci identifies courses as transferring as either a core course or an elective course on a specific track. We don't recommend not using both off-track electives before going abroad, as those can be good ones to use abroad. They also have a scholarship for majors, so that's a really great note as well for them. Yes, and that's a good note as well. This is just our winter offerings. Um, And for neuroscience, so neuroscience does not maintain a list of pre-approved study abroad programs and courses for fulfilling the major and minor requirements. Requests instead are approved on a case-by-case basis. Ideally, prior to the program, you generally do not want to wait until after and then find out actually this isn't going to work for your program. We do have the linked here, the study abroad evaluation form that you need to complete. You cannot do any lab requirements abroad, nor any like bio side of requirements. There generally you're kind of looking more in the psychology side of neuroscience requirements, and requests for courses in groups B and C. Are the ones that have the best chances of success if you're looking at like the requirements for the major. I would, however, recommend generally it can be a good for neuroscience students to start looking at like programs that are pre-approved by BCN. Generally, you have a decent chance if it has been approved by BCN that neuroscience might also approve it for you, just understanding some more restrictions are in place. So now that's the basics of that. Here is some information about these two particular programs that are great for psych students. This is located in Amsterdam with our partner IES. Students will apply on mCompass and IES. You'll see this note a lot that you'll apply through both our website, mCompass, as well as through our partner's website. You must have completed 5 psychology courses at the university level to take psych courses abroad, so that you have that decent level of preparedness to be able to succeed. And then also, academics wise, you can earn 15 to 17 credits. You do have to take at least one IES abroad course. So these might be more cultural courses and things of that nature. And 2 to 4 courses need to be taken at Vrije, I think it's like Vrije, something like that, Universiteit Amsterdam. I prefer VU, so I don't butcher it. And you can see the course offerings, but just pay attention to the prerequisites that exist. And you do have provided housing, and our advisor, Will, is the advisor for this program. Do note the deadline to apply is a little bit earlier than our standard deadline of 9/15 on 9/1. Psychology and Neuroscience in Buenos Aires. So this is a great program as well for both psych and neuro students, as well as students in CogSci who are on that like more psych track. So it's in Buenos Aires, Argentina. You'll apply through mCompass and IFSA. Academically, you'll be earning 15 to 16 credits, whereas, specifically, you will be taking IFSA electives that are in a variety of different fields. They are all in English, so no worries if you do not have a Spanish background, in the fields of psychology, neuroscience, pre-veterinary medicine, business economics, and arts and humanities. So if you have distribution requirements, you can also get some of those fulfilled in this program. There is also an optional requirement to do an IFSA language course. Do note that this doesn't count towards the LSA language requirement if you're taking Spanish for that. But Spanish major and minor students can potentially receive credit if they're placed into Advanced Spanish 1 or 2. And students stay in homestays on this program or apartments, with the advisor for this being our Spanish languages advisor, Juliana. So next up is computer science. So computer science and the Tech Career Accelerator in Prague is our highlight program for this. For computer science students, you'll want to utilize the Michigan Engineering International Course Equivalencies Database. It's a very long name, but basically you'll use that to search for any pre-approved coursework, specifically in EECS. For CSLSA students, they should not use it for anything except EECS or CSE coursework. Any minor air distribution items have to go through LSA. In general, general LSA advisors or minor advisors. Specifically for the computer science and Prague program, you don't even have to look at that link. We've already figured out for you what the classes count for computer science. The major note with computer science is that students are permitted to take one CSE 401X course via the expanded upper level CS requirement. Any courses beyond this will contribute to general electives. The only exception to this rule where you're allowed to take more than one CS class is the program I'm just about to talk about. CS students should 100% consult their CS advisor before committing to a program, just to make sure that these will transfer back properly. For the Computer Science Tech Career Accelerator in Prague, this program is located in Prague, Czechia, with our partner IFSA, where you apply with us and IFSA. We do have an FAQ that you can check out, but overall, students earn 13 to 16 credits on the program. There are 2 mandatory courses, Essential Czech for 1 credit and Leadership Development in the Tech Sector for 3 credits. And this is the class that transfers as the CS capstone, EECS 497. And then you can take that 1 additional credit, like I mentioned. And you can check out the full course listing here. And students live in apartments. I am the advisor for this program, and this program does have an earlier deadline. Do note that this is also a good option for our CogSci computational track students too, as well as data science students. Mathematics. So for mathematics, we have the Mathematics in Budapest program. For math overall, the math department adds on any pre-approved coursework to their math equivalency, course equivalency site. So students should search by country and under the advanced search option. The only exception to this is that because the Budapest semester in mathematics program is actually run through St. Olaf, a US institution, it's listed as if it's like in St. Olaf, Minnesota. So just be aware of that if you're looking things up. If not listed, you can't find it, students can submit courses for evaluation. BSM and university study programs tend to be best suited for mathematics majors, though there are a couple other ones that are also good. Center-based programs, so where you aren't studying at a local institution, but instead of studying just purely with other American students, tend to have a little less mathematics offerings, and so that's why university study programs tend to be best. Mathematics in Budapest. So this program is kind of our highlight mathematics program. It's very specifically, I forgot to put the number of credits. Sorry. I'm realizing. But students apply through us and BSM. And then the big thing is that students must have completed a semester of real analysis and abstract algebra for the program. This should say, I believe, like 12 to 15 credits. I will correct that. And there are research opportunities available. And I've had students successfully do research on this program previously. And students can check out the past course offerings available, but there's a real plethora of coursework available in mathematics. And you can also like petition to take a independent study with a professor on a particular topic of interest. And students are housed in apartments, and this has the standard deadline. So I'm going to hand it over now to Elise to talk more about pre-health, public health, and biology, health, and society.
Thank you, Callie. So you can see we've got a couple of programs we're going to highlight along with this. In general, for pre-health, again, the public health programs tend to fall under my umbrella, but not all of them. So just keep in mind that there will be additional options as well. Go ahead. So for pre-health and health majors, the pre-professional requirements cannot be taken abroad. Students are encouraged to study abroad for your language, your distribution, any minor credits, and just experiential learning. In general, I know it's easy and tempting for a lot of students to want every single thing they do to check a box towards, everything you need for graduation. But these experiences can be really just overall great learning opportunities, and can add something to your resume. that can set you apart in the future for a lot of opportunities, even if it doesn't check every single box you're looking for, at least when it comes to fulfilling specific degree requirements. Also, for health-related majors, gender and health students can get major requirements abroad as long as courses focus on both gender and health. Other students in health-related majors should contact their department for info on using study abroad credits toward their degree. So for the biology, health, and society slash biology major, um, unfortunately, biology does not maintain a list of pre-approved study abroad programs or courses. So requests for approval are reviewed on a case-by-case basis, and this is done ideally prior to the start of your program. All of them should be requested by submitting a study abroad evaluation form. Similarly, as was mentioned by Callie earlier, lab requirements cannot be completed abroad. For the BHS major in particular, the best chance of success for taking courses abroad to count for your major are going to be courses that fall under the Group B category of courses. So best opportunities to look for that, and maybe you can filter in some other distribution requirements to supplement alongside those. For just plain biology, students are encouraged to study abroad for their language acquisition, distribution, minor credits, and experiential learning. So unfortunately, for some of these hard science majors, there just aren't as much flexibility from the departments as we would like. And so a lot of the study abroad opportunities are supplementing things rather than actually fulfilling major requirements. However, for some public health related things, we do have a couple of great offerings. One of these is the Global Health and Development Policy in Switzerland program. So this program takes place based out of Nyon, Switzerland, as well as Geneva. A lot of the actual educational center and a lot of the time will be spent in Geneva as well. This is done through the School for International Training, known as SIT. So you apply both through mCompass and their portal. It's a very curated curriculum. So you earn 16 credits and you take 5 courses. Those courses are laid out. There is a French language component. You do not have to speak any French to participate in this program. SIT requires students to take a language course on all of their programs, regardless of location. It's part of their philosophy for allowing students to be able to have a more enriching cultural experience and to help them navigate through the local life. So you'll test into whatever level you are for French. And unfortunately, it cannot be used to fulfill the LSA language requirement. Another really cool component to the SIT program structure is that they have the independent study project. So for the entire last month of the program, you are doing nothing but focusing on your independent study project, which is a deep dive into a topic of your choice. Oftentimes over the course of the program, you'll have had guest lectures and excursions, and you can utilize some of the resources and networking from those opportunities in part of your project as well. Um, for housing, the students live with families in I think it's Nyon. I don't do French. I'm really sorry. And so it's a homestay experience. There is an excursion that takes place, and so there's slightly different housing for that, but the vast majority of your time is going to be spent with those families. And I'm the advisor for that. The application to apply is a little earlier. It's that September 1st deadline. And I did just want to mention there's also a condensed summer version for this program. So if for some reason the winter one didn't work out, it wouldn't be your only opportunity. The next one, this is also mine and also done through SIT. It is the Health and Community Multi-Country Program. This one is competitive. It is probably our most unique program offering because of the multi-country component. The routes are not always the same. It has been pretty consistent the last few years. But the goal of the program is it is a comparative look at health and community across 4 continents and 4 countries. So students have been starting in the United States. You go to DC and you're there for typically like a week and a half to 2 weeks. And then the route has been to go to Delhi, India for 4+ weeks, Cape Town, South Africa for another 4+weeks, and then Buenos Aires, Argentina for another 4+weeks. So again, this one is through SIT. You'll apply on mCompass and SIT's portal. Again, this is a very curated curriculum, so you don't have a lot of any really flexibility with your course options. You'll earn 16 credits and you take 4 courses, which are listed there. Housing is a mix of homestays, hostels. It changes a little bit with each of the countries that you go to. And the nice thing is that for the entirety of the program, you're always traveling as a group. So the travel is the only travel that you have to coordinate for yourself is the start to get to DC and to go home at the end of the program. I'm the advisor, and this one does have an early application deadline as well. And then the other one that we wanted to highlight is the Humanities and Social Sciences in Sorrento. So this one is in Italy. The provider is the Santa Ana Institute. This program, you'll earn between 12 to 15 U of M credits. There is one required Italian language course. I don't believe you have to have previous Italian experience, but this program's not in my portfolio, so you would definitely want to double check with Joy. The courses, there's a lot of just health science and natural science course related options. So definitely take a look at the past courses that are listed there. For housing, you'll choose between either dorms or shared apartments or even homestays. So there's a lot of flexibility and options for that. And so that deadline will be September 15th, and you want to make sure you apply both on mCompass and through the Santa Ana portal. 95% sure doesn't cry. Okay. See, I thought so too. Um, so then some additional STEM majors we wanted to talk about briefly. So for chemistry, the chem department utilizes the same policy for study abroad as they do domestic transfer credit. So if you're coming from another local US institution, so you can search the transfer credit equivalency database for any of the pre-approved coursework in there. If it's not found, students can request for the course to be evaluated. Some courses are very much restricted only to UM. So again, this might be one where you'll do other distribution minor type things on study abroad for the majority of your courses. For physics, students wishing to petition courses from abroad should bring the course syllabi and description to a physics faculty advisor who evaluates the course to determine its eligibility. For many of the programs, the providers that we work with have sort of a database of historic syllabi on hand already. And if it's not a provider program, it's done directly through a partner institution. You may have to reach out to their study abroad office to acquire those, but it's not hard. They're used to it. It happens all the time. We also wanted to mention statistics and data science. So similar to chemistry, this stats department utilizes the same policy for study abroad as they do domestic transfer credits. So you can search the transfer credit equivalency database. A pre-approval list from the department may be forthcoming in the future. We've been trying to work with them to get that to come about, make things a little easier for students in those areas of study, but it's can be time consuming. So we'll see when that comes to fruition. And then for data science students, programs approved abroad are similar to those that are pre-approved for computer science. There's often overlap there, so you can take a look as well. And then, as mentioned before, there are a lot of programs that we would sort of consider multiple disciplinary. They cover a large range of topic areas, majors. There's just a lot of different options available. So we were going to highlight 2 particular programs for this: computer science, psychology, and humanities in London, as well as the study in Scandinavia programs. And then we'll talk a little bit more about university study programs. So for computer science, psychology, and humanities in London, this is another one of my programs. It has similar computer science course offerings to Cali's tech program in Czechia. However, it doesn't have the capstone course built in, so that would be an option you would only be able to get from Cali's Prague program. Um, you would apply on mCompass and through IFSA. Classes are taught by IFSA faculty at their downtown London Educational Center in Mayfair. There's a wide range of topics available, not just computer science and psychology. There's also things like bioscience, history, some humanities sprinkled in. And there is an opportunity for directed research. So students can work one-on-one with an IFSA faculty member to do some independent research about a topic of their choice. I will say it is limited in scope. There's not like giant lab capabilities oftentimes, but it's still an opportunity to add some research to your resume, so it can be very beneficial. Housing is furnished flats, which are single bedrooms with private bathrooms and then shared spaces. And there's a lot of cultural content that's sort of mixed into the curriculum as well.
And I can take a stab at this one because this is one of my programs and one that's very popular with STEM students. So this is the Study in Scandinavia program in Sweden and Denmark. You can go to either of the two locations. They have some differences between them, but overall have similar course content. And students apply through mCompass and DIS's portal. So for this one, students take a core class from one of the multiple tracks. These are kind of a list of some of the ones, but there's like a ton of them. This what program is particularly known for its really variety of coursework available. And the students actually travel with that core course. That's why you pick one core, so that you are able to go and go to another country in Europe and kind of study comparatively. The subject that you're focused on. So maybe you're learning about healthcare in Denmark, then you can go to Italy and see how healthcare looks like in Italy too. Um, the students can choose also to enroll in 3-credit practicum courses that are similar to internships. I also don't have mentioned here, but there is research opportunities as well at the 3 and 6-credit options. And students can take between 4 to 5 classes on this program. Some subject areas that are relevant is biology, cognitive science, computer science, psychology, VCN, and neuroscience, public health, and pre-health. The housing, there are a couple of different options. One is homestay, there's a living learning community, or the Collegium or student boende, which is like kind of like mixed housing with GIS students and some local students. I advise for this program, and this program has 2 early deadlines. We have the 8/1 deadline in August that we highly recommend students apply to for the best chance to get into the program, as it is competitive, with the secondary deadline of 9/1.
So there are also programs that are considered, they're called university study. What this means is that students are directly enrolling typically alongside full-time students at these international institutions. There are a lot of these in the UK, which is the bulk of my portfolio. So we have one page right here dedicated just to the university study in the UK, and then the next one that we'll show in a second has other options outside of the UK. So there are a number of programs available for the winter. 2 of them you'll note are competitive, though that is King's College London and University College London. The rest are non-competitive. 2 of the program options do have an exchange option available. So that would be for King's College London or for the University of Sussex. And the deadlines are going to either be on the August 22nd or September 15th. The vast majority of the programs themselves are located within London, but there are a couple that are outside of London in the greater UK. One of those is University of Sussex, which is in Brighton, England, which is about an hour south of London, and then University of St. Andrews, which is located up in Scotland. And then there are also some other university study options outside of the UK. There's an option in Spain, Ireland, Australia, South Korea, and there may even be a couple others, I'm not sure. But you can take a look and see that these span across a number of advisors' portfolios. So just make sure that you are connecting with the appropriate advisor if you have questions in particular about that program. Most of them have standard deadlines except for the Carlos Madrid one, which is earlier. That's partially because of the visas attached to that. And there are some exchange options as well.
Yeah, and to add a note, if you don't know what exchange means, did you clarify this?
I don't think I did, but if you want to, you can or I
Yeah,
can.
yeah. I can clarify. So basically, exchanges can be great for in-state students. So this means that you are going to be paying the same rate that you normally pay here at the University of Michigan, at like the University of New South Wales or the University of Melbourne. This can be a very affordable option for students who are in-state. Generally, we do recommend out-of-state students do like a fee-paying option, or with these other ones that are non-exchange, that just means like, yeah, you pay the partner directly for the program, as that can be more affordable than paying tuition as an out-of-state student. Yeah, so I will take over and talk about a couple of additional notes before we wrap up. Feel free to add any questions you may have in the comments as well. But course approval. So we have kind of talked a little bit about different course approvals in different major areas, but our general recommendation is to start conversations early with your major advisors. This is really great if you are in one of those more challenging majors. So like maybe like BHS, where you can only take a couple, like you have like two group B classes that you have, and you can make sure like, okay, I'm going to set these aside, and then maybe I'll set aside a social sciences and an interdisciplinary credit too. So it can be really helpful to know what to complete on campus and what to save for abroad. For LSA students, they receive in-residence credit on your transcript no matter what. So it is as if you were studying here at it will classes are taken abroad and then automatically applied towards your GPA. You do have the option to take classes pass fail though, if you would desire, as long as you're not taking them for a major or minor credit. For major and minor classes, we recommend checking out the information we provided here, as well as the by major pages for each of those disciplines. For distribution classes, so humanities, social sciences, interdisciplinary, things of that nature, you want to consult your general academic advisor. And share the syllabi for the course you're interested in taking with them, and they'll be able to make the determination if you can take that distribution abroad. So overall, narrow down your choices, find syllabi for what you're interested in, and set up appointments with your advisors. For the multiple application policy, so CGIS only permits students to apply to a second or a third program if their top choice is competitive. So students must rank their applications, or no applications will be reviewed. So for competitive programs, they will only be reviewed if you rank it first. So for my study abroad in Scandinavia program, if you say this is actually your second choice and like the Sorrento program is your first, I won't review it, because we want students who are most interested in this program applying to and getting spots on that program. And so if you wish to apply to two programs, you must rank the competitive program first and the backup program second. So you would say social sciences, or sorry, study abroad in Scandinavia is my first choice, with the Sorrento program being your second choice. Students will complete ranking questionnaires as part of their applications. So that is where you go about putting it. Do note, if you're interested in two competitive programs, you must only select one to apply to. And if you're interested in two non-competitive programs, you must only select one to apply to. We don't allow you to apply to multiple non-competitive programs that historically have not seen, students get rejected as long as they meet the minimum requirements. You will not be able to apply to two. You would just select your favorite one. There are only very few situations in which a third-ranked application would be needed or reviewed by CGIS, so we recommend just picking those two. Or if you're applying to a program that is not considered competitive, just the one. Financial aid. So we recommend that you consult the Office of Financial Aid Study Abroad team. They have a dedicated email about how studying abroad could impact your eligibility for financial aid. Students have to be taking a minimum of 12 credits to be at full time for the fall or winter terms to be able to go abroad with your funding. There are a variety of funding sources available. Eligibility for funding does depend on your program, your unique circumstances. So we cannot answer financial aid questions. Those have to go directly to the financial aid team. However, there's this really helpful study abroad estimate worksheet where you can use the information that we provide in the mCompass brochure page under finances and input all of the data about how much this program is going to cost, and financial aid will send back to you how much grants and loans you can expect to receive to support you on this experience. For the LSA Study Abroad scholarships, 95% of eligible LSA students do receive between $1,000 and $10,000 for their program costs and financial need. So you have to have that same minimum of 12 credits to be able to receive it. And actually, I think, actually, no, maybe that did change. So winter applications, I think, have shifted back a little bit because I think it used to be due in October and it moved back to November. But you can check out the scholarships page to apply to it. You'll just want to make sure that you apply in time as they do not accept late applications. You'll want to meet with the LSA scholarship advisor if you have any questions about your eligibility. And so you can check out that information. If you're like, this does not apply to me, I am not an LSA student who's eligible for aid, or you just want additional funding, do check out our financial aid and scholarships page where we have a whole spreadsheet that goes over additional scholarships that are available. Finally, I think this is finally, we have the CGIS website and advising. So do know that we have an advising page with a bunch of different information that you can look through. We have our first step sessions. And also, if you scroll down on this particular page, you can find the link to be able to set up an appointment with us. Finally, any questions you guys have for us?
So it looks like there's one about how programs are designated as competitive. I'm happy to take that if you want. So typically programs are considered competitive because they either have a much higher eligibility criteria, so meaning like a higher GPA minimum, certain prereqs to get in, and or there is a very limited number of spots available. And so you are literally competing for your spot on the program with students from all over the US that are applying and sometimes all over the world that are applying as well. So typically, that is the designation. For programs that are considered non-competitive, they're designated as that if historically students that have met the minimum eligibility criteria, so they have the minimum GPA that's needed, and didn't have any like red flags in their recent academic or disciplinary records, if as long as all of that was good to go, they have an incredibly high chance of getting into the program.